Just because you got in trouble with the law once doesn't mean your life is over, but sometimes it can feel that way. Because when you leave the prison system and try to find meaningful employment, you're often faced with workplace bias and discrimination from potential employers. Which is why today I'm chatting with Stacy Hill, the lead technology employment specialist at Persevere, a workforce development company that teaches how to code and helps hire hundreds of justice-involved and at-risk individuals to help them successfully re-enter the workforce. Well, Stacy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, to those who've been listening to the podcast for a while, we like to focus on job search tips for those that are coming from non-traditional backgrounds who are trying to find their first job in tech. And that's kind of the whole MO of your organization at Persevere, trying to help those who have been justice impacted work through some of the biases, discriminations in the job search process to help folks that are trying to change their lives for the better find meaningful employment through technology. So before we talk about Persevere specifically, I kind of like just to highlight what are some of the common challenges that you see people with a justice impacted background go through? What are some of those common biases that they face? Just to kind of paint that picture for our listeners and help us understand what are some of those common problems and what people should be doing to address that if they find themselves in that situation.
Well, there are several barriers that someone who is justice impacted faces when they're coming out of the system. Number one, housing is a big one, transportation, education, wellness, but especially employment. Someone is 3 times more likely to go back into the system if they do not find sustainable employment within 3 months. And so that is a huge barrier and one that we're, definitely trying to overcome. But there are reasons for that. Number one, lack of skill. A lot of the men and women coming out of the system, they haven't had access to resources or education. So they don't have the employable skills that an employer is looking for. Number two, limited job opportunities. An employer may not be background friendly. Someone who is justice impacted doesn't have access to every employer, which in turn can mean they're looking for entry-level or minimum wage jobs because that's all that they can find. And number two is motivation. When someone comes out of the system and they are having a hard time finding employment, along with the other barriers that I mentioned, it can really hurt their motivation, which in turn can have them just looking solely for those minimum wage jobs or not, looking for employment at all.
Yeah, so what are they supposed to do, right? If they have all these barriers that are preventing them from reintegrating back into society, I imagine it's just incredibly easy to go back to old habits and behaviors that they knew before. And then, as you mentioned, you're right back into the system. So talking about Persevere specifically, where do you come into play? Is that after they've left the system? Is that something you engage when they're still in the system? How would somebody connect with you if they are having a justice impacted background?
Persevere is actually, and we say behind the wall. So we are in some prisons. I'm out of Tennessee, and so we are in some prison systems in Tennessee. But a lot of the men and women that I work with are out in the community. So they are already out of the system. They've gone through our program. They are getting ready to graduate our program, and I start working with them. So we work on a resume. We work on mock interview skills. We work on their self-esteem just to prepare them for entering a new career. So because a lot of the men and women that I work with don't have a background or experience in technology. And so working with them as their technology employment specialist, I want to help them prepare to go into the workforce. I want them to have a great resume. I want them to be, very self-assured when they're in front of a CEO for a job interview. And then I help to bring them resources and employer partners that are willing to say, you know what, we love what Persevere is all about, and we want to join that mission, and we are going to be background friendly. So when they have an opportunity or a job opening, they work with Persevere and are willing to hire our graduates. Now they have to be, they have to know how to do the job and be, aligned with that job description, but they are still willing to say, yes, we will give your Persevere graduates an opportunity.
Very nice. And I'm just looking at your website here before this conversation. 500 folks already gone through the program, successfully been able to find a job through this. So congratulations to the work that you all are doing. It looks like it is successful. So if somebody were to be coming out of the system and wanted to apply to your program, what would an ideal candidate look like? Are there types of justice impacted folks that maybe wouldn't qualify, or are you kind of just open to anybody? What does that application process look like?
That's a great question. And I want to first say that you do not have to be justice impacted or justice involved to be a part of Persevere. We work with members across the board who have employment barriers. So that can mean someone who is aging out of the foster care system. That can mean someone who is in a area where it's economically declining or the rate of unemployment is very high. Someone who receives SNAP benefits. Anyone that is facing an employment barrier is open to going through the Persevere program. Now, a lot of our participants have been justice involved or justice impacted, but it's not just limited to those individuals.
Okay. And the application process is just going to the Persevere website, and I'll include a link of that in the description, but they can just go there and apply directly, or do they need some sort of referral? What does that look like?
They can go directly to our website, and the application is on our website. It's very easy. It does ask you to, give a description or write some information about yourself. I tell people to really take time and be prepared for that. Don't just do it on a whim. Think about what you would like to say, because our program is 100% free to anyone who is accepted into our program. You get a free laptop, yours to keep upon completion. And then again, we help you find employment. So it is a great opportunity. And we want those individuals who do apply to, number one, be interested in it. And number two, put the time and effort into the program, because it's a great program.
Oh, I'm sure. And you even remove some of those extra barriers of providing the laptop that if you're coming right out of the program, you may not necessarily have access to. So then some of the other limitations, right? Transportation, housing. Is this a fully remote program they can go through, or do they have to still be able to, go to a physical location to get the education?
All of our programs are remote, so they are taught virtually. They are instructor led. So you do have an instructor there who can help you. It's 4 days a week, and it's 3 hours a day. And then you have Fridays where you can meet with your instructor and get help, because they do have work that they do on their own. It's intensive, depending on what pathway you choose, but it is virtual and it is instructor-led.
So then if it's only a few hours a day, is the idea being that it's like in the evenings, or somebody can still have like a part-time or full-time job and provide themselves while they wait to go through this program? Is that flexible enough to accommodate those that are still working?
It is. In fact, we offer 3 different times. We offer a morning class, an afternoon, and an evening class based on we want everyone, if you're working third shift or first shift, to be able to participate in our program.
Okay. And is this something that let's say I'm thinking of people in my network who maybe have already done some technology training. They come from a justice impacted background. They're struggling in the job search. Would they have to start with the education component of your program, or could they jump right into the job search assistance part? Okay, what are the different kind of tracks that are available?
They have to go through our program in order to work with our employment specialists. But we offer a wraparound service. So you are going through the education part of our program, but we have mental health providers. We have case managers that all of our participants work with. So it is, yes, the education you are receiving, but you also get the wraparound services, while you're going through the program. But you do have to go through our program in order to work with a technology employment specialist.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then when you join your program, what type of software engineer or technologist can they expect to become, right? You have web developers, mobile development, maybe back-end, whatever. Are there multiple different tracks, or is this one kind of standard that everybody goes down?
We have a number of different pathways. When Persevere originally started, it was basically just coding. I say just coding. Coding is so hard, so it's not just coding.
Fine,
but
yeah.
Someone would become either a front-end developer or a full stack once they did the front end and the back end. But we wanted to open up and offer different pathways because technology is so vast and there's so many opportunities. So we opened other pathways, including data analytics, network plus, security plus. We are offering AWS. Project management is another pathway. So we offer different pathways. Coding is one. And yes, that is, the one that is the longest, but we do offer others.
Okay. And then as far as placement rate statistics and things, obviously you've seen a few hundred go through your program. How long do you support folks on the job search after they've gained that skill? Or is there a time where, hey, after 6 months, if you're still not employed, then your services drop off? What does that support look like post graduation from the program?
We are committed to helping our graduates find employment. So not only do we stay with them until they find employment, and when I say employment, sustainable employment, we also stay with them the first entire year that they are employed with a company. So we want to make sure that they are successful. Yes, while they're, they receive a job, but we want to make sure that they continue that success. So we are beside them and they have access to all of our resources for the entire first year of their employment.
Well, that's wonderful. That sounds like a great opportunity for a lot of folks. So then talking a little bit about some of the challenges that they face, kind of circling back on that conversation, as you're supporting folks in this job search process, what are some common mistakes that you see them make? What are some of the biggest aha moments as you think of some of the success stories that you've had, that if somebody was listening to this podcast, maybe they can't commit to go to the full program, but I want to leave them with some kind of actionable takeaways that they can take into their own job search to help them be successful if they are coming from a justice impacted background?
One of the things that I say is, we have a lot of people who are starting our program who don't think that they can do our program. Coding, it's difficult. It's a hard trade to learn. So, and they think, I don't have a technology background, but that's okay. We start from, day one and walk you through until graduation, and we help place you in employment. So I see a lot of the men and women that I work with not only say, you know what, I went through that program and I didn't realize it, but I have a love for coding. I have a love for technology. And so that's one of their aha moments. And then I love to see a graduate realize their value. When they know that they have so much to offer an employer and that they can change their lives and their families' lives through what they learn through our program. I mean, it's why I love my job. I love that we are changing lives and we are changing generations through technology.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So as you think of through the individuals who have come through your program, are there any success stories that are really inspirational to you that you think kind of highlight or provide some flavor to some of what we've talked about today?
Yes, I don't know if you have seen it, but we have a young lady who went through our program out of Nashville, and she just did an interview, prison to Princeton. She went through our program, Persevere, and now she is interning with Princeton University. So that is just a phenomenal success story. But I also want to highlight the other individuals that I work with that have been a success. I worked with a young lady who graduated from our program in project management, and she applied for a promotion and received that promotion. And now she is managing an entire team, and she loves her job. She loves her team. And to me, that is just, as successful as the Princeton. So we have a lot of success stories with Persevere. Everybody's on a different journey. But everybody, little or small, it's a success for us.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of those employers there, because Princeton, pulling that in as a partner, I'm really curious, when you approach companies about joining or becoming a partner in your program, what are some of the trepidations they have to bringing on somebody with a justice impacted background? And then how do you convince them that the people from your program are, going to be good employees if they have a history of history with the law?
There's a lot of misconceptions with working with someone who has been justice impacted. When I speak with employers, a lot of times there's fear. There is, are they going to show up? Are my other employees going to be safe? And if you look at just the history of working with someone who has been justice impacted, number one, they are just looking for a company to believe in them, to give them an opportunity. They want to come to work. A lot of times they have to have employment, out of when coming out of the system. But more than that, they want to show up. They do show up. They want to prove that they can be a great employee. So there's so many misconceptions that I am, walking through with employers that I meet with. It can raise productivity. It can boost morale. There are so many advantages to working with someone who has been justice impacted. Again, that's what I'm trying to do every day when meeting with these companies, just to, say, give our graduates an opportunity. And it's worked out very well for the companies that have partnered with us.
Yeah, I imagine they are probably pretty grateful to have an opportunity to work, in this field. So I imagine the default or typical person going through your program is probably going to be a lot more committed and dedicated trying to make this work, because I imagine they don't want to go back to their previous life. So this being a free program, obviously you got to get funding from somewhere. So if somebody listening to this, maybe they don't have a justice impacted background, but they also want to support your mission of helping those from these type of backgrounds find successful employment, how could they, partner with you, donate, what volunteer, what type of roles are available and opportunities are available to support Persevere's mission?
All of the above. So yes, we would love to have support through volunteering. We have a wonderful group of volunteers. They're fabulous. We ask for employers to not only look to hire, but to volunteer for mock interviews to help prepare. And we have a partner or a volunteer that helps with resumes. He works with software developers, and he's great at helping to prepare a software developer's resume, which is different, obviously, from a regular resume. And so, yes, volunteer, donate, please donate. We are grant funded, but we do, want and ask people to donate because it is free for the participants, and we do provide that laptop. But there's a number of different ways that someone can be involved, and they can definitely go to our website and see the number of ways they can join Persevere's program.
Sure. And once again, I'll have that link in the description for anybody who's interested in helping out. So as we get close to wrapping up here, Stacy, I just want to give you an opportunity, kind of in these final moments to think about if there's any one last piece of advice to somebody who might be coming out of the system and they're trying to change their lives, like any motivational thoughts or any direction that you provide them to kind of help them know what next step they should take to better their lives.
Yes, I would say do not let your past determine your future. There are so many organizations out there that are available for men and women who have been justice impacted, or men and women who have family members who have been justice impacted, that can assist and help you find a new career, help you find housing, help you find transportation. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get assistance. But again, I would say do not let your past represent your future. There is so much out there. Persevere is just one. I say we're not a program, we're a movement. We're just one of the programs out there.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure that's very meaningful to a lot of people that are listening in. That's all the time we have for today. So Stacy, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Junior Jobs Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe, as that helps us reach more developers in need. And don't forget to check the show notes for details on today's sponsor and other job search services that we provide.